Welcome back, and let's continue with our calculations. So now we are going to be looking at multiples and factors. We are going to determine the LCM of 50 and 70 using prime factorization. Remember, when we are doing prime factorization, we need to write out the numbers using the prime factors. So we are going to write out 50 and 70 using the prime factors. 50 is 2 times 25. But because 25 is not a prime number, we are going to break it down further to 5 times 5. 2 is a prime number and 5 is also a prime number, so that is okay. Let's go to 70. Again, 70 is 2 multiplied by 35, but 35 is not a prime number, so we are going to break it down to 5 times 7. So 2, 5, and 7 are prime numbers. So we have written down our numbers using prime factors. Okay, so now do you remember how we find the lowest common multiple? So when we're looking at our factors here, we have a 2, we also have a 5, and we have a 7. And when I look at these prime factors, I can see there that, remember, the highest frequency, the 2 appears only once. So if we're looking at the prime factors of 50 and the prime factors of 70, the 2 only appears once, right? And then, or maybe I should write there one time. And then when we are looking at the 5, so I'm going to look at the prime factors of 50 and I'm going to look at the prime factors of 70. And there with the prime factors of 50, the 5 appears 2 times. And then lastly, I'm looking at the 7, which only appears with the prime factors of 70. And we can see that the 7 there only appears one time. Remember, we are looking at the highest frequency, or the one that appears the most. So what is my lowest common multiple between 50 and 70? Then I am going to take my factors that I have identified, and that is my 2, which only appears once as the highest frequency, multiplied by 5, and multiplied by 5 again, because the highest frequency for 5 as a factor is 2 times. And then I am going to multiply by 7. And that means I'm just going to say 2 multiplied by 5, multiplied by 5, and multiplied by 7. That will give me an answer of 350. This means that the LCM between 70 and 50 is 350. Let's now find the highest common factor between 8 and 30. So the first thing we're going to do is to write out 8 as its prime factors, which is 2 multiplied by 4. But because 4 is not a prime number, we need to break it down. That's 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. And then the next one, 30. 30 is 2 multiplied by 15. 15 is not a prime number, so let's break it down. That's 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5, because 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. I've written my numbers as their prime factors. Now, what is the highest common factor? Do you remember how to find the highest common factor? Yes, we do take the common ones. So we are going to look at the factors of 8, we are going to look at the prime factors of 8, and we are going to look at the prime factors of 30. And we are going to find the common ones. So the common ones is only 2. So that means we are going to take the 2. But remember, as we are looking at the common one, we are also looking at the one that appears the least. So when we look at 8, 2 appears there 3 times. And then when we look at 30, 2 only appears once. So that means we are just going to take the 1, 2. And that means that our highest common factor between 8 and 30 is only 2. Okay, let's move on. Themba goes to the grocery store to buy some food. He only has 100 rand in his pocket. He buys 3 chocolates that cost 10 rand each and 2 box juices that cost 21 rand each. After paying for everything, he must split the change that is left equally between his brother and himself. How much money does his brother get? So there are quite a few calculations that we are going to do here. So we need to first figure out what is the total cost that Themba spent at the grocery store. Let's look at what Themba bought. So they are telling us that he bought 3 chocolates that cost 10 Rand each. That means that the total for these chocolates was, what is 3 times 10? Yes, you are correct. It is 30 Rand. Then we have 2 juice boxes that cost 21 Rand each. So that means we are going to say 2 multiplied by 21 Rand. Do you know the answer for that? Yes, the answer is going to be 42 Rands. So he spent 30 Rand and 42 Rand in the shop. What is the total for these 2 that he has spent? We are going to take 30 and we are going to add it to 42. So I've written it in the columns as they're supposed to be, and 0 plus 2 is 2, and 3 tens plus 4 tens is 7 tens. That means that Themba spent 72 Rand in the store. So let's see how much change he gets. Do you remember how much he had in his wallet? He had only 100 Rands. So let us take that 100 Rands and subtract 72 Rand. Sorry. Okay, so 100 Rand minus 72 Rand. Let's start subtracting. So 0 minus 2. Now there's 0 ones and we are supposed to subtract 2 ones. We cannot do that, so we are going to go to the next column to go and see if we can take something from there. So when we get to the next column, that is the tens column, there is nothing there as well. So we are going to continue going to the next column. The next column has 100s there. So we are going to take that one, leaving us with no hundreds at all. And then now we have 1 for the tens. Then, because it was needed by the ones, so we are going to take that as well, leaving us with 9 tens, and then now we have 10 ones. So 10 minus 2 is 8. And then when we move on to the tens, we have 9 tens minus 7 tens, that gives us 2 tens. And then with the hundreds, we have nothing, so it means that our answer is 28. This means that Themba has 28 Rand left after spending that money in the store. Now he has to split it between his brother and himself. So what is 28 divided by 2? That one is an easy one. 28 divided by 2 gives us, so 28 Rands divided by 2 gives us 14 Rands. It means that his brother will get 14 Rands. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So Desha is a waiter at a restaurant. During load shedding, he has to add up the customer's orders manually. Table 1 ordered a meal for 492 and another meal for 335. Calculate the total bill for that night. So because Desha has to do it manually, this means that he has to use the methods that he learned in school. That is our column method. So we are going to say 492 and we are going to add 345. 2 ones and we add 5 ones gives us 7 ones. 9 tens and 4 tens, so 90 plus 40, that gives us 130. But because it's only the 30 that belongs to the tens, the 100 has to go to the hundreds column. Then we have 400 plus 300, which gives us 700. But remember, we have that 100, so that is going to give us 800. The total bill for table 1 will be 837. Let's move on to the next one. So now Desha saves another table, which is table 5, during that night of load shedding. So table 5 ordered the same meal that costs 267 each for 9 people. Calculate the total bill for table 5. This is 267 multiplied by 9, because those 9 people each ordered that meal for 267. So we are going to use our multiplication skills. Now, remember, we are now going to say, what is 9 times 7? So 7 ones multiplied by 9, that gives us 63. So the 3 belongs in the ones column, and the 60, or the 6 tens, will go into the tens column. Then we are going to say, what is 9 multiplied by 6? So 9 multiplied by 6 tens, 9 multiplied by 6 tens gives us 540. So 540, remember, we have that 6 tens that comes from the previous calculation. So we are going to add those two. If we say 540 540 and we add 60, that is going to give us 600. What does that mean? It means that I am going to write a 0 for the tens, and because the 6 belongs to the hundreds, I'm going to write it in the hundreds column. Then we are going to say, what is 200 multiplied by 9? So 200 multiplied by 9 is 1,800. But remember, we have the 6 from the previous calculation. So we have the 600 from the previous calculation. We have to add that. So 1,800, and we are adding 600, gives us 2,400. So the 4 will go in the hundreds column, and the 2 will go in the thousands column. That means that the bill for table 5 was 2,403. All right, let's go to an ad break, and then we'll see you just now.